Hello, everyone. I am Lindsay de Oliveira. I am the woman with the nipples, if you will. I'm the founder of Soothe Beginnings. I'm a mom, and being a mom is how all of this started for me. So today I'm going to talk about pacifier safety, what to look for, and what to avoid, and some of the pros and cons of different types of pacifiers. So, like many parents, we had our daughter, and this is what 2 a.m. looked like at our house. And there was a little bit of desperation to try to get her to take a pacifier. And I know, like most parents, you try any and all pacifiers, you go through all of it, you're trying to figure it out. And it was just so frustrating that I was so desperate to get my daughter to take a pacifier. She was a colicky baby, if that gives you any reference. We were really desperate to try to find a pacifier she would take. And it was just added frustration that we did not need at that point in our lives. So I went and I purchased a bunch of different pacifiers, and I was very shocked that I was like, you know what, this should be easier for parents than it is. But I was very shocked to see that there are certain pacifiers, like with stuffed animals attached, are not safe for sleep. There are pacifiers, those natural rubber ones, those are latex, and those can actually cause your child to have the latex allergy, unfortunately. More exposure to latex increases the likelihood of developing the allergy, okay? And then a lot of them, the shapes are not actually that wider, deeper latch that we're looking for. And there were just so many issues going on to find that pacifiers can be made anywhere in the world, and they're only testing them one time a year, looking for toxins in the CPSC testing. So it was very eye-opening, just how some of the pacifiers on the market were not living up to the safety standards that we really would expect from a baby company. And anytime, you're attaching anything to a pacifier, like the stuffed animals or a pacifier clip, it's not safe for sleep. There are a ton of safety incidents, and I have very much scoured the internet, and saferproducts.gov is a fantastic resource that you are able to go in and see the recurring issues. One of the recurring issues that's been really big is finger entrapment. So the great perk of these open style pacifiers is that you can clean them, right? But we're getting issues with finger entrapment. Then you have the closed style pacifiers that you don't have the finger entrapment issue, but they're trapping water, and it's going to trap moisture, which is creating mold, mildew, bacteria, yeast, things like that, that we don't want to see in our child's mouth. So there was a lot around that I was like, somebody has to do better. And I know we've all seen these be really popular. Unfortunately, the natural rubber is in fact the latex. And not only is it an allergen issue, but it's also an issue of it's very porous, and they break down when exposed to heat and UV. So you can't fully sanitize them like you would a silicone. So that is just something to be very aware of as you're going through different pacifiers, like the pros and the cons of different pacifiers, because they have amazing health benefits when used in the right time and the right place, okay? So some things that you do want to look for in a pacifier, and I will answer a couple questions at the end that I have time for. I do have a surprise for everyone that stays to the end, and but I will be doing a lot of Q&A back in the booth as well, just so you guys know. So what you do want to look for, you do want to look for silicone. You do want to look for the proper shape. So a wider based nipple. You know how we talk about baby bottles having that triangle test? The same thing is actually going to ring true for pacifiers. Very commonly, when you see those orthodontic style pacifiers, these are being marketed for kids with full mouths of teeth. These are not for babies. And the pacifier winning recommendation is actually to get them off the pacifier before they have that full mouth of teeth at a few years old, right? So a wider base pacifier is actually what we do want to look for, believe it or not. Also, something that's hygienic, that can you in fact throw this into the dishwasher? Can you throw it in a steam bag? Because being able to sanitize your pacifier on a daily basis is extremely important for baby's health. We don't want any bacteria and yeast free floating in their mouths. That's kind of icky. So you do in fact want to do that every day. Something that I found to be very important, I feel like plastic is like becoming the lead of our generation. If you can find a plastic-free pacifier, that was something that became important to me as a new mom. Eco-friendly was also something that I was looking for as well. But something that a lot of parents don't know about, and this is a super easy thing to not add something to your plate, pacifiers, you need to swap out the pacifier nipples, usually every around 6 weeks. With the caveat that every time you hand your pacifier to your baby, just inspect it real quick, make sure there's no signs, wear, tear, damage, or anything like that. So that's the cool thing with that. So what I recommend parents do is whatever pacifier it is your baby takes, put it on an automated subscription replacement. Now with the latex ones, they do break down very quickly, very easily. So they start expanding as they start breaking down. So that is something to be very aware of if you do go down that path. Now, something that I do personally, oh, my picture is gone. Look at that. It's okay. Something that I do a little bit differently here with Soothe Beginnings is that our pacifier in particular, is you're not going to end up with the finger entrapment, but you can actually open this up to throw the entire thing into the dishwasher. My absolute goal is that safety for your baby needs to be convenient, because if it's not convenient, it's not the easiest thing to do or really add to your life on a daily basis, right? As well as our pacifiers are being made in the US. The cap and the shield is made in the US. The nipples are made in the US. We are testing every single batch. I don't know any other company that is doing that. They're typically testing once a year at the most. So that is one thing that we're doing, every single batch, and they are in fact made here. We do have all of these incredible so if eco-friendly sustainability, that is something that I found to be very important to me as I went down this journey of an easier pacifier to find one my baby likes, but also it needed to be the plastic-free and the eco-friendly as well. So these are forest stewardship certified. You've got the Declare. They're made out of the cap and shield is recycled paper with a plant-based resin, totally sustainable. This is actually food grade. So this is used, believe it or not, in restaurant kitchens, because this is that level of safe. It's non-porous, but you can throw this in the dishwasher, which we super duper love, convenience. But also it's EcoBind and used WE technology as well. So we do offer 4 different colors. So, which is so funny to me that people did in fact want a black pacifier. The natural has been the most popular. The navy is, I think, my favorite. It's called Blue Canyon. And then you've also got the, I don't have any cut here yet, but also coming in this chocolate color. And this is just to compare the natural color as well. So those are the 4 different colors, but you can get these personalized as well with the either baby's monogram. You can have baby's name put on there, all of that, which is really, really cool. So what I am doing is, this is my first expo and I got really excited. So we are offering $10 off with code Winter Expo. You're also going to get free shipping and then also a free bonus of our Make More Milk. So this is going on the duration of the expo as well. So I am going to hop in and answer some questions for you guys, whether it's pacifier safety, about our product, if it's about other pacifiers, weaning, all of that. That is what I'm happy to help with. Okay, so let's talk about the cleaning in the mold. So because you are able to take this apart, you are good to go. Nothing is getting trapped. That's the cool thing. And being a mom first, I made it to looking at the safety specifications that were necessary for pacifiers in the US. I took it a few steps further, that even if this is put together or not, no part of this is a choking hazard. Each individual piece is larger than the choking hazard size. And I even added a little hole to the cap. So if a baby is to pop that in their mouth, there is still airflow, that is not an issue as well. I put this through the ringer of like, how can, my daughter's clumsy and does stuff. So I was like, how could she possibly but also going through all the research and seeing what pacifier incidents are happening. Oh, I'm glad you love the Navy. I think that's awesome. Let's see. My 3 months, stop taking any of them. Going to pass on the collection to my stepdaughter who's due in July. Okay. Yeah. So just keep in mind, you do need to swap out pacifiers, if they've been used. So just keep that in mind. Oh, I'm glad you think they're pretty. It's ocean themed. I love that. How many pacifiers should you have on hand? That is a really great question. The typical recommendation is to have 2 to 3 on hand, which is where things get a little different because the starter kit, you are getting 3 different pacifier nipples with it to figure out which one your baby likes. Once you know which one your baby likes, you only have to swap out the nipples. The cap and shield you keep. So it's a sustainable product and material. The nipples are actually recyclable. A lot of people don't know silicone is recyclable, but it is. And there's a lot less waste here because you're only swapping out the nipples, which can then be recycled. So even if you just have like an extra 2 or 3 nipples on hand, you are good to go, which is awesome. I like boiling my baby's pacifiers. That's awesome. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I just was like a dishwasher mom. I was like, throw it in the dishwasher. But you can boil these. You can put these in a steam bag. You can put them in the dishwasher. So yes, you can absolutely boil, which we love. So you are supposed to replace pacifiers, A, at the first sign of wear and tear, or B, if they're latex, you have to replace them much more frequently, every 4 to 6 weeks. A lot of them don't make it that far. For silicone, every 6 to 8 weeks. So we would fall in that 6 to 8 weeks. But just keep an eye, making sure that, if baby's got some teeth coming in, you're keeping an eye at the first sign of wear or tear or damage, that you are swapping them out as well. So there are different stages to pacifiers, which people have very different takes on. I'm personally not a fan of going up in size because every baby's oral development size is going to look different. And for example, so I am a breastfeeding counselor. So when you're looking at baby bottles, for example, they usually recommend it based on baby's age, right? Or you have to use this by baby's age. It doesn't necessarily mean your baby is ready for that one. And so a lot of people end up bumping up pacifier size when they don't really need to, but it can actually cause more harm than good. So I see no harm with sticking with the that smaller pacifier size. It doesn't need to be bumped up and enlarged as well. So sterilizing when you're on vacation. If you just want to throw them, some people use sterilizer bags. You can also do the if they have a dishwasher there, or just use boiling water. Throw a pot on some boiling water, chuck it in, and you are good to go. Yeah, the switching was, so I was like, when I had this idea initially, it was convenience. I was like, this is way more challenging because when I tell you, I tried so many pacifiers for my daughter. I was stressed in middle of the night, sending my husband to the doctor, sending my husband to the store to get more pacifiers to try. Like, it was such an issue. So that's where making it convenient, but then discovering the whole safety element. Because I was working, the first place I went as a mom was to a safety consultant, and that's where he laid out the pacifier regulations. And that's where I was very upset that those are the bare minimum, unfortunately. And a lot of the companies are sticking to the bare minimum. So I did think that was pretty helpful. So once you know which shape your kiddo likes, you can actually, just put those on either recurring order so they show up when you need them, or it just makes life a lot easier to know which one they take. So that's the point of like a starter kit, to figure out which one it is. And that way you can always just grab nipples after the fact. So the other thing is, so we have this wider nipple is what I call the nursing nipple. I'll explain this one in a second. This is the standard nipple. So this looks like more like the Soothe or the Jolly Pop. These are really, really great for non-nutritive suck quality. These are fantastic. These are what the hospitals give. But this is that wider, deeper latch we like to see, especially for feeding. So it's even better for oral development. Now, this third one is an orthodontic shape. You're going to notice it is not very bulbous. Okay, it has that narrow base. So this is the best of the orthodontic shapes for quality suck. The reason I included it, even though those narrow bases are not the recommended kind, is because there are babies that are born with oral restrictions, my own daughter included, that if they have an oral restriction, this is possibly the only pacifier shape they can actually take, believe it or not. Once they get an oral restriction clipped, then you can bump them up. But there are some babies that this is the only one that they actually can keep in their mouth, which is that was something I wish I knew back then. But it was tied in with reflux or restrictions. A lot of that is actually very intertwined, which is wild. I saw a video by a doctor. I cannot seem to find the specific passy. A little bulky up top. The bottom is dented in. Any insight? Also, why the hospitals give the pacifiers they do if they are not safe. So the pacifiers that they typically give in the hospital are the Avents or the Jolly Pop. Now, keep in mind the standard is to only test once a year in the US. That is the standard. The main issue that is happening with these pacifiers, so obviously they're only testing once a year, but the finger entrapment has been a major issue, but it's not happening while you're at the hospital because you're watching the baby the whole time. Somebody is there with eyes on the baby the whole time. The finger entrapment issue happens very quickly, and all of the incident reports that they keep coming in at least once a month. There's finger entrapment issues. Babies have gone to the hospital. They've needed antibiotics. A lot of it is happening at nighttime. So think about it. It's the one product that goes in your baby's mouth for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on end, and also being used without supervision. So a lot of it is happening when the baby's in bed at night, but very quickly their finger will start to swell. And that's where now it's really stuck and babies have needed antibiotics, things like that, which is absolutely wild. When should you take the pacifier away completely? I love that question. I am a huge advocate. I'm a little bit more strict about this than even the American Academy of Pediatric Dentists. They do recommend pacifiers 6 months and under because of the amazing benefits they have for health. The American SIDS Institute and the American Academy of Pediatrics also recommend the use of pacifiers because of its link with SIDS. If you have a NICU baby, pacifiers are part of the protocol. They help babies go home sooner. Practicing that suck, breathe, swallow, being in that rest and digest state is just really helpful for them to get stronger, feed more efficiently, have more oxygen when they are feeding, and they are able to go home quicker, which is very cool. So I'm a huge fan of evidence-based. I recommend taking the pacifier away as young as 6 months up to that 18-month window. Usually around a year to the 18-month window is my personal favorite because it's easier to give safe sleep items and other comfort items, but they're not so old that like those emotions are huge yet. So it's a little easier to address. I do have on my website, I have a free pacifier weaning guide that is made for babies 1 and under, as well as 1 and over. So step-by-step, actually how to get your kiddo off the pacifier. So I'm not in the business of trying to keep your kid hooked on a pacifier for the next 5 years. I really try to lean into evidence-based because they're great products when you've got, the right kind, not latex, when you've got the right kind, but also used at the right time and in the right place. So if you are nursing, for example, the official recommendation, now you are the parent, you get to decide these things. The official recommendation is to give a pacifier once nursing is established at 3 to 4 weeks of age as well. So I like that window of, usually 1 to 18 months, I found to be a really good sweet spot before those feelings get way too big as well. So the reasons to use a pacifier. So a lot of parents love the reduction of the SIDS risk. So that's a really, really big motivator for a lot of parents. That suck to soothe. Babies are naturally born that sucking is soothing to them. They actually start practicing that before they're even born, which is really cool. So some babies love the pacifier and some don't, and that's okay. If it's something that gives your little one a little comfort or helps them sleep better at night, that is really awesome. In the hospitals, if your baby's having an outpatient procedure, pacifiers are the first line of pain relief. Excuse me. So pacifiers are actually proven as a pain reliever. Usually in the hospital, they'll put a little sucrose on it, but a pacifier is a very effective pain reliever. And having those cortisol levels lowered is obviously going to be good for your baby as well. If you've got a NICU baby, I know I already brought that up. They are typically on pacifiers, helps them gain weight and get out of the hospital a lot faster as well. And working those oral muscles is phenomenal as well, and getting those exercise for more efficient feeding. Awesome. Oh, I'm so excited you like that. Thank you so much, Sutton. Let's see. Yep. Okay. Yeah. If your son has an oral tie, sometimes they don't like pacifiers and sometimes they do better with that orthodontic shape. Very interesting. Oh, little lady woke up from her nap. So we're testing every single batch. So we're not just ordering multiple batches from overseas. Every batch is going to be made here in the US, and every single batch is being tested before they actually come to the warehouse. Yeah, the finger entrapment thing, like I am seeing a ton of it in babies as young as 4 months old. So you would think, yeah, that is just not great. You would think it would be like the older babies with the bigger fingers, but it's more so that. Something I do want to mention, you guys, is that I am going to do a Q&A in my booth directly after this. The first 20 folks that come into my booth and drop their email in the DM, not the DMs, drop your email in the comment section. I'm going to enter you in for an instant giveaway is what I'm going to do. So yeah, if you want to do more Q&A, we'll talk more about, pacifier weaning, how to introduce a pacifier. I have a ton of free resources to help parents and educate parents. And this is what I do. This is what I speak on is pacifier safety, what to look for, and some of the things to avoid, because education really is power. So the first 20 folks that come in and do and drop your emails, I will be entering you guys in for a giveaway that I'll do instantly. As this event is running as well, the duration of Prego Expo, with code Winter Expo, you get $10 off the starter kit. Code free ship, you're also going to get free shipping, and you're getting Make More Milk for free. It's a $49 product. You're getting that for free. Again, all evidence-based as well. And yes, sometimes when they get rid of them on their own, I'm like, oh, you magical unicorn baby. I love those babies. That was not my girl. You noticed my shirt. Thank you. Yeah, the back of it is ask me about my nipples, because the whole goal is to start the conversation about pacifier safety. So if I lead with the pacifier safety lady, no one's going to want to talk to me. So I try to have fun, and I try to make a great conversation with folks. And because a lot of people are very unaware, and nobody is speaking on pacifier safety, that these companies need to raise their standards. Like pacifier clips, as a company, I refuse to sell them. Absolutely refuse. Pacifier clips have so many documented, reported incidents. They are point blank unsafe, whether it's the plastic kind, the metal kind. They're breaking, they're causing choking hazards, they're sharp. Plus, you've got something now attached to the pacifier that it can get ripped out of their mouth. People have been attaching them to car seats, and any kind of weight pulling on the pacifier, whether it's the stuffed animal or if it's a pacifier clip, any tension is actually driving the nipple up into the palate, and that's going to affect oral development very negatively, unfortunately. So you can access the pacifier weaning guide on my website under the courses. You'll see it's free in there. Also, I'm super active on Instagram and TikTok. So my link in the bio, I've got a bunch of freebies there. So that was cool. Let's see. I haven't showed saying we're trying anymore. So that's my next question. When should we even start to use a pacifier? It's going to be up to you. If you are bottle feeding, you can start right from day one. If you are nursing, the technical recommendation is to wait 3 to 4 weeks to establish nursing and making sure that is going well for both of you. Some parents don't wait. This is very much up to you, the parent, but that is the official recommendation. Taking advantage within that first 12-ish weeks of life of that sucking reflex is actually very, very helpful. I do have how to introduce a pacifier as one of the freebies I have, because you wouldn't think about it, but if you're sitting there crying, upset, and hungry, if someone shoves something in your mouth, you're not going to want it. You're not going to take it, right? So there are a couple of strategies to introduce the pacifier in more relaxed ways when they're not hungry, maybe when they're swaddled, after they've eaten some, so they're not starving, but when they're still alert and awake, is much easier to introduce the pacifier as well. So, is it true it can affect teeth development? So that is a huge, huge thing. So evidence-based, I do refer to the American Academy of Pediatric Dentists. Timing is the biggest aspect of this. So making sure they're not on that pacifier years down the road. And that's why even I recommend pacifier weaning even earlier than the dentists do. I think that window that they recommend is a little bit larger, but if you do it in the right time frame, then you are good to go. But head back to my booth. I'm going to do some Q&A, and those first 20 folks that drop their email, I'm going to be doing a giveaway instantly for you guys. And let me know any questions you guys might have. And we're going to go have some fun at the Soothe Beginnings booth. I really hope you guys have a great Prego Expo, and thank you for being part of my first Prego Expo. I appreciate you guys.